Welcome to today's episode of Startup Growth Program. Is one of the series of program lined up by Stand-Up Launch Code to help startups grow their business. So today we'll be discussing a very important aspect for every startup, especially software as a service business. So today on the talk we'll be looking at user activation, understanding user activation, how to measure and improve user activation for software as a service business. So today I will be handling this. My name is Kennedy. Work with a growth and marketing specialist with Startup Launch Code. So let's get into it. So what do we stand to learn at the end of this program? We'll be learning what user activation is, why you should define activation for your business, how to determine activation, difference between user activation and the aha moment for software as a service business. Then also we'll be looking at how do you measure user activation and ways to improve user activation and so much more. So let's get into it. So first, what is user activation? So you can define user activation as the moment when a new user complete a set of initial onboarding steps for the first time. So there are key things you need to take away from this definition. No, number one, for you to say okay, you are activating a user, that means that user must be a new user. That is one. Then the user must complete a series of onboarding steps. So there are certain steps through which that new user must complete for the very first time. So simply means you can only activate a user once as far as it is a new user on your platform. So now that we define user activation, why should you define activation for your business? Now, defining user activation for your business helps you to do two major things. Number one, it helps you to measure what activation is and how you are doing well with activation, because it is when you know what you want to measure that you can start to measure. And once you're able to measure, then you can now look for areas of improvement if you're not doing well, and areas where you can do more if you're actually doing well. So defining user activation helps you to one measure your activation success and how you can actually improve your activation if you are not doing well in that aspect. So for you to define activation, there are certain things you need to know. You need to make sure your customer experience the core value that comes with your product. So that means you must know what value your product is trying to give its user. So if you don't know the value that your product is offering, then you can't determine what activation is for your user. That is number one. Then you now need to define or understand those key actions that leads to customer getting that value. So let's say, for example, you own an e-commerce platform. Now the value of your e-commerce platform is to give your users a seamless shopping experience. That is the value that comes with your e-commerce platform. Now what are those steps that your customer needs to take to now experience that seamless shopping experience? Now that is how you now determine, okay, if this user has completed this series of steps, you can also okay, this user activated. So you need to understand and know the core value that comes with your product and understand the core steps that each user needs to take to experience that value that comes with the product. So once you do that, now there's a simple formula for you to actually define what activation is. And I use this simple formula is a new user is said to be activated when they perform key actions. So what are those key actions that leads to them experiencing that core value? Once you do that key action, you can just say, oh, this user has been activated. Now, so let's take an example of what activation means to different brand, and what are those key actions that leads to that particular value. So, for example, number one is Uber. No, everybody know Uber is as a ride sharing application. Now, what value does Uber want its users to take? It is giving its user an effortless means of transportation, which simply means you can pick on the comfort of anywhere, either for your ride, and go wherever you want to go. Now, what are those key actions that leads to user experiencing this effortless transportation? One, you need to order and take their first ride. So you can Uber will say, okay, they've successfully activated a user if a user orders and takes his first ride. So if user only orders and at the end of the day cancels the order, Uber won't say they've activated a user. So a user is only activated on Uber when he or she orders and completes its first ride. So you can see the difference. Ordering and taking the first ride is activation, not just ordering alone. So you need to define what that value is and what actions lead to that value before you can say a user has been activated. So another great example is Slack. So Slack is a team collaborative tool that helps team members to communicate seamlessly. So their core value is to give its user a better team collaboration. And the only way you can experience that team collaboration if you're able to send a certain number of messages to your teammates using Slack. So in Slack, we know say they've activated a user if the user just downloaded the app. They can also say they've activated the user when that user has sent a certain number of messages to his or her team member, and can ask, oh, they've activated a user. So you need to understand the value that your product is offering and those key steps and actions that leads to that value before you can now determine what activation means for your business. Now, since we know what activation is and how to determine or define activation, what is the difference between user activation and aha moment? So before I give you the difference, I want you to take a good look at this user activation wheel. There are about 7 steps in these wheels. Now I want you to focus our attention on the aha moment and the activation moment. You can see these are 2 different stages in the user activation flywheel. Now that is where the difference is. Now the aha moment is when the user realizes the value that comes with your product. Now the user only realizes it, yeah, he or she has not experienced the value. So if I download Uber and I've not taken my first ride, I've not experienced the value that comes with Uber. If I downloaded Slack and I've not be able to send series of messages to my teammates, I've not really experienced the value of Slack. So the user activation comes with experiencing the value, while the aha moment is just knowing that, oh, this product is has this value for me. So the only time I've been activated is when I experience that value that comes with that particular product. So your user can download your app, can download your app, but if they've not experienced that value that comes with your product, then you can't say that user has been activated. Now, how do you determine activation for your product? Since you now know the difference between the aha moment and the activation of a user. So number one, you need to first of all determine the core value. What are the values that comes with the product? What value does your product offer? Once you are able to determine the value that your product offer, the next thing is now find out what are those actions or steps that leads to that value, so you can easily lead your user to that, taking those steps for them to not experience that value. So let's say, for example, a social media platform, for example, your core value might be connecting your users to their family and friends. Now, what are those steps that users need to take? They need to download the app. After download, they need to input their biodata. After that, they need to now invite their friend. You can see those are the steps that leads to connecting with our friends. So you need to first of all define your core value, then find out what are those steps that lead to experiencing that core value. Once you're able to map that out, then you can now easily take your users to experience the core value that comes with your product. Now, so how do you measure user activation for your software as a service business? Like we said, defining activation helps you to measure your activation, how you are doing it with activation. So you need a way to measure if you are really doing it with your activation or not. There's a simple formula to help you calculate what activation rate, and it's just the number of users who have taken those specific action that leads to have activation over your total number of new users. So let's say, for example, you are able to get, like, let's say 100 people to download your application, but out of this 100, only 10 was able to actually activate. That means take those key steps that lead to them experiencing the core value, then times 100. So that is going to be the 10 activated users over the 100 people that downloaded your app times 100. So if you do that calculation, that means you'll be having 10% activation rate. So you'll be able to measure or define and measure your activation if you are doing well with your activation strategy or not. So now that you're able to keep track of your activation, you're able to define your activation. How do you improve your activation if you are not doing it with activation? Number one, you need to personalize the user onboarding experience. What does this mean? Once people are signing up on your application, you need to take them through that customer, that journey, for them to experience the aha moment, then to not experience the value that comes with the product. Now, example of this personalized onboarding experience is Duolingo. You can see when you sign up with Duolingo, the first email, you can see this image trying to like take this user through that journey to them experiencing the value that comes with the product. You can say, hi, thanks for joining, welcome to Duolingo. And the first step is for the person to what? Go and download the app. That is the first action that is leading to the activation. The second action is for them to now start practicing. So you can see this stage clearly states those key actions that is leading to what? To the user experiencing the value that comes with the product, which is in this Duolingo. So you need to personalize the onboarding experience for your users to improve your activation processes. Number two, you need to write a welcome copy that leads to the aha moment. So you need to ensure that your users experience or see the aha moment of your product. That is, get the value or see the value that comes with your product. An example of such email is this one from Twitter. So you can see the core value of Twitter is connecting people with their families and friends. And you can see the first email is telling them, oh, find your friends. That is, you want users to feel and experience the aha moment that comes with the particular product. So you can improve your user activation by sending emails, follow-ups that what makes them see the aha moment of your product. So the next thing is to use gamification for user engagement. So gamification means trying to like gamify the entire engagement process. So for example, Duolingo did this very perfectly. You can see that what they do is what they want users to continue to come to the application every day. You can see Monday to Sunday, and for each day that you are able to, for each day you come on the application, there's a point that you get. So if I come on Monday, you get this point. If you come on Tuesday, you get this point. So what this does is build its kind of psychological trigger on your brain that, oh, I've not gone to this application today and I'm missing out on my points for today. So if you can able to gamify the engagement process through that journey, through the activation journey, it helps to improve user activation for your platform or brand entirely. Now, another thing is to stick to a single and clear call to action. Yeah, don't put too much call to action that you leave your users confused. maximum you can make it 2 or minimum of 1 call to action, so that you let your user know the next step to take that leads to activation. So then another thing is to send a series of get started email. Don't just assume that your user know the next step once they start when they get on your application or when they get on your platform. You need to get them you need to take them through that step, so that they know what it next. After this step, okay, this is the next thing to do. After this step, this is the next thing to do, so that they don't go stuck and you don't lose out on those particular set of users. So this is a perfect example. So this particular brand, after they've stated their value, the next thing is telling the user to get started. So you need to like take your users by the hand through the steps till they experience the value that comes with your product. So let's look at a perfect a case study of how a particular brand was able to carry out its user activation. And the brand we are looking at as a case study is an Abacross solution. So it's a B2B lead generation platform that helps brands or businesses to get contact of capture people that comes to your particular website. So they were struggling with improving their activation rate, user adoption, and trial to paid conversion. So how did were they able to solve this particular problem? Now, the first thing was for them to identify the activation events. That is, what are those events that they regarded as activation? Number one is installing the widget on your website. So if you install the widget on the website, then you can say, okay, you have activated. Or if you invite your team members to use the platform, then you can say you've been activated. So you need to like I said earlier, first thing is for you to define your core value. Then what are those events that leads to that core value, which they did here perfectly. So the onboarding flow was very simple and straightforward. Get people to install the widget on the website and invite team members. So how were they able to achieve this? Now, the first thing they did from their sign up page is to trigger trigger a kind of prove the catch it trigger your attention by putting a testimonial of people who have used their platform. You can see on the right hand side there is testimonial of how this person was able to get 700 leads using the particular application. So once you sign up, the next thing they did was to send a welcome email that has two call to action. Number one is to take a tour. Now, what this take a tour does is take the user through series of steps for them to see the aha moment of the product. And the second call to action is for them to now install that particular widget on the website, which is one of the activation criteria. So you can see this is a very good case study. One, they were able to get your attention with a very good testimonial like they did here. Then two, in the welcome email, they had a very simple and clear two call to action. One is for you to learn more about the brand so when you are learning more, you'll be seeing the value that comes with the brand. And the second call to action is you actually activate by installing the widget on your website. So just to recap what we discussed. So we discussed about user activation, and we said user activation are those you can say user is activated when they go through a series of steps that helps them to experience the value that comes with your product. And we also looked at the difference between the aha moment and the and user activation. We said the aha moment is when the user realizes value that comes with your product, while the activation is actually when they experience that value that comes with your product. You also look at the ways you can define activation for your business. And what are the steps? The steps is number one, you need to determine and identify the core value that your product offers. That is number one. Then identify those key actions that leads users to that value. So once you're able to do that, you can now look for ways to measure your activation, which a formula was given, which is number of activated users over the total number of users multiplied by 100. So you can get the percentage of your activation rate. Once you're able to get your activation rate, you look at ways you can improve your activation rate. You can do that by personalizing the onboarding experience. You can do that by gamifying your own engagement. You can also do that by sending a series of welcome emails to your users just to get them to actually activate your platform. So I hope this helps you to understand what activation is to your business. So for your business, you can identify what are the core value that comes to your business, and what are those key actions that actually leads to users experiencing this core value. With that, we come to the end of this session. You can reach out to us by visiting our website and following our social media handles at Startup Launch Code. Do have a great day. Thank you.